Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and in this video I wanted to do an overview of the newer Daytona aluminum jack. This one's the 2-ton option, and in this video I also wanted to compare it to the 3-ton. Mine is the low profile. I mean, you could just get the regular. I mean, then there's the Pittsburgh, which the Pittsburgh kind of similar to the Daytona now. They kind of changed their lines around, which at that time, 5 years ago, that was the best one they had. Now they have the aluminum one. And unfortunately, I didn't see too much online with this 2-ton aluminum racing jack. And pretty much the only reason I'm going with this one is, I mean, it's a little bit smaller, but it's mostly just that lightweight. I mean, I'm getting to the point to where I usually do work at like family members' houses. I don't have a garage. So though I could use this one here in parking lots and on, some cement areas, I had to drag it out. But if I want to take it somewhere, it's just killer to try and lift that thing up. It's about 90 pounds, to where this is about 40, 42, I think the website said. It's still heavy, but it's so much easier. You can actually get it in and out of your trunk and not have to hurt your back or really strain. And nobody really did much on this. This is the newer one. They have the 1.5 ton, but it's a lot smaller. It's also a lot cheaper though, so that's a plus. But like I said, it's a lot smaller, and I think it's just not as substantially built, to where this one is very similar to the more traditional one, the other Daytona. So one thing I noticed was, as far as when I was jacking up my car, the handle's a little bit, it's the same length, but it doesn't reach as far out. But I guess just it's slightly shorter here, just a few inches. I mean, you can check Harbor Freight's website for all the detailed specs, but you can kind of see here the handles are actually both right about 43 inches. They're pretty much identical, and I really think that these are both steel, maybe aluminum. They would collapse since it's hollow, but you can, when you take the handle off, probably to put it in your vehicle, you can save a few pounds and just lift the jack itself. Now, the saddles, though they're pretty small, they're actually identical on both of these. And I have this, I just bought this on Amazon. I've been using it with that one for a long time. So it fits. I mean, it's not perfect because you're putting the round or circular over more or less a square, but it still does fit. There's a little bit of play, but it fits a little better, because on this one it hits this part of the frame, to where here you're open, so it actually holds a little bit better. And this will work with the crossbeam jack, which I recently just picked up, and that's why I'm going with this for my newer car. It's going to be a lot easier to use the crossbeam, have 2 jack points, but instead of trying to lug that with all that in my car, it'd be easier to use this. And as with on the older jack, whenever you get it, they have this to keep this piece flat so that it'll lay in the box better. And on that jack, I was able to just push this back a little further with the handle and pull this out. On this one, this was already maxed out, so they either made this longer, or the movement doesn't go as far back, so there was no way to get it out. And it's fairly soft plastic, so I was just pushing forward easily, and I was hoping I could just bend it enough to kind of open it back up and grab it out real quick, but it ended up snapping. So just be careful. I did it very slow. I don't think it would ever damage the jack, because this is all pretty heavy duty stuff here, but and you can almost see the fit and finish isn't as good. You got some wrinkles in this. You have this like decal that's kind of chintzy. I feel like it could just tear off, to where everything on this one feels a little bit hard. I don't use it too much, mostly just for twice a year changing my wheels and stuff over. But this one's held up really nicely, so hopefully this will be the same with the aluminum. And the 1.5 ton has 2 wheels like this, and this one just has the roller. I'm not sure. I think you might actually get better surface contact with that one, because you see how that one wheel doesn't turn all the time? It's always one or the other. they usually both don't make good contact, probably because the floor is never really level. But to this one, you know, you're pretty much always going to be making contact. Now, I find this one actually to be easier to maneuver around, but I think a lot of that's just simply because it's so much lighter, half the weight. To where this one moves pretty good too, but you got to force it a little bit more. And this one, you know, you can almost just pick it up if you need to really get it in a tight angle without just dragging it. And I believe they said this gets pretty much to max height at 5 pumps. So 2. Yeah, and that's pretty much maxed. So we'll go over here. Again, this is also a rapid pump. I think the handle goes a little bit lower on this one too, like almost clear to the floor. So I'll have to count the pumps after I edit, but I think I know it was at least a few more. And this one does get a little bit higher, so I don't think that's enough to deter you. We're talking a couple of inches. Again, the specs are on Harbor Freight's website, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. You could always just put like a little 4x4 cutoff piece, or you know, just some little block or something if you really needed that extra few inches. But that's why I like this. You're really not sacrificing all that much. You're getting a little bit smaller, a little less tonnage, you know, 2 tons compared to 3, but you're still getting a lot of the same design cues and build quality and in a much lighter package, which is really, again, why I upgraded, in my opinion, to the aluminum. Now, I haven't bled out the aluminum one yet. I probably will, but I let it jack up, you know, my Crown Victoria, which is a pretty heavy car. I believe it's right around 35, maybe 4,000 pounds, but you're only jacking up half the car. I mean, I'm not doing the whole thing, so I think, you know, 2 tons is plenty. Never had any issues with the 3 ton. I don't think I'll keep both. I'll probably get rid of the bigger one, but for what I do, just half a car at a time. And I let it sit for about 15 minutes. It didn't bleed off or sink down. So that's more than enough time for me just to do a tire change, and anything longer under the car, I would just obviously go with jack stands. So I think this is still going to get the job done. And again, as you can see, this uses the removable, which I think they actually took that off the cheaper Pittsburgh aluminum jacks, and maybe even the steel ones, probably on purpose to make you pay a little more to get the Daytona. Now, I do believe a lot of the old ones had this same removable little cylinder piston to take the saddle off. So you can use this, and I'm not going to set it up right now, but just to kind of give you a mock-up, a little bit, you know, out of character. You know, it's a little bit bigger than it would probably look a little more proper on this jack, but I've seen some in the Harbor Freight reviews, people use that and it seemed to work without issue. So you know, maybe day to day, if you're in a shop, it might not be the greatest combination, but just to let you know, you can use that cross beam on this one. And hopefully you can see here, they're both the dual piston design. And under here, they're very similar in terms of how these were put on. And this one looks like it has those same little E-clips on the end for stability. So I think I'll just end it here. I mean, I know I didn't show like jacking the car because I don't have a good spot now. Like I said, I did try it earlier, and I don't want to give like a definitive review, being just a DIY home guy where I'm just going to use it a handful of times a year, if that. I'll let someone else, but nobody has a video just showing what it's like. So I just wanted to get that so you can see. There's some on the 1.5 ton, but it's a kind of a different design to where the 2 ton, I don't think they make a 3 ton, at least not yet. But again, depending on what you're using it for, probably most of your passenger cars, you can get by with this 2 ton. And I did get mine with a coupon, so it put it like right, I think like 190. Unfortunately, when I bought the 3 ton, I think it was maybe 120. It wasn't that much money, and that was probably with a coupon. But as everything goes up, I think the low profile 3 tons like $190 now, and this one's probably also going to just do nothing but go up in price. And the aluminum ones are more than the steel ones, obviously. So if you're thinking about getting one, probably should get it sooner than later, because I'm sure the prices will just end up going up just like everything else that Harbor Freight has. So hopefully that was helpful. Again, you can at least see what it looks like and compare it to the other steel Harbor Freight jack, if that's what you already have and you just wanted to see some of the size differences. But I think it'll do just fine, especially in my situation. But if there's enough interest, people want another review or something actually lifting the car up, I can do that. But I think this does get across the point. It's a pretty nice jack, well worth the money. As long as it doesn't drop the car on me, I'll be happy. So thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.